Hi, welcome to Hyperion Hype Club. My name is McKenna and I love the Kingdom Keepers books by Ridley Pearson. Join me as we discuss this series and others published by Disney Hyperion Books. Let's get into it. Hi, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of Hyperion Hype Club. Today I will be reviewing Rebel Rose by Emma Theriault. Theriault? I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. This is the first book in the Queen's Council series, which is multiple books by multiple authors. It's classified as a young adult book and was published in 2020. I want to point out that I unintentionally read a book set in and around France, including in Paris, right before the Paris Olympics began. And speaking of the Olympics, anyone else addicted? Like, it's the time of year when I get Peacock for like a month or two just to watch the games and Heroes. Um, but yeah, I'm so hooked. Maybe I'll be less hooked once artistic gymnastics wraps up later this week. But there's also like rhythmic gymnastics and trampoline and diving, and like I watched equestrian yesterday. The hiking, canoeing, sailing, surfing. Oh my gosh, so much breaking. Gotta watch breaking for the first Olympics with that. Oh, but yeah, love it. Love it, love it, love it. Definitely let me know some of your favorites to watch. But yeah, just a bit of an overall thing about this book first. Some themes that I noticed: classism, sexism, feminism, identity, trusting your instincts. And there were also some historical bits regarding the Age of Enlightenment and French Revolution. I also noticed imposter syndrome and trauma bonding. So, things that I enjoyed about this book. Let's get into that. It answered some questions about what would happen to the memories of the townsfolk and the rest of France's population once the curse was broken. I'm personally not a romance person, so I was glad that it took a back seat in the story, which focused more on politics. I don't know why I didn't expect this, considering the series is called The Queen's Council. However, what the Queen's Council is the one twist that actually got me, and I'm 99% sure that no one has guessed what it is. Maybe I should read the reviews on Goodreads to see if anyone guessed it. I highly doubt it though. While I'm not a romance person, as I said, I did like how realistic Belle and Leo's relationship is, and I'll get to why Adam is now Leo later. It's not just a super easy relationship, and they don't mesh perfectly together. Belle sacrificed travel and never settling in one place to be with Leo. She also had to tiptoe around Adam's or Leo's feelings sometimes, and she takes time to figure out how and when to say things. You can't just drop info bombs or say certain things when the other person isn't ready or in the mood for it. And Belle acknowledges that and acknowledges when it may not have been a smart decision. Also, they talk about the whole thing where they chose each other and continue to choose each other even when things get difficult. It also shows that marrying a prince for love doesn't guarantee a life of pure bliss and or perfection. Another thing I liked about this book is that I was never totally sure who the villain was until we got near the end. There's quite a bit of volleying with my guess until that point. I also think it's fun to read the lines of characters we know and their voice from the movie. So reading Lumiere's voice like him, Mrs. Potts, characters like that. And I really enjoyed two of the character arcs in this book. Lastly, I always like coming across references in books, in this case, references to Disney's Beauty and the Beast movie and the French Revolution. There are a few things that I think could use some improvement, at least in my own opinion, could use some improvement in this book. It was weird for the first few chapters because Adam slash the Beast is now called Leo because he went by that growing up. At least that's what I think, considering his cousin calls him Leo, and that's what his mom called him. He wants to leave the Beast slash Adam in the past to help him recover from the trauma of the curse and from his father. I just feel like I need to clarify that before you start reading if you decide to pick up this book. Sometimes they were French phrases that I had to look up from not knowing them, not being able to relate it to English or whatever Portuguese and Spanish I've learned from Duolingo, and not having clear enough context clues. Thankfully, the reading app I use made looking this up easier since I just had to highlight the word or phrase. Another small thing is that Belle wore a fur one time, and I cannot imagine her doing that. Another thing I didn't really enjoy was that about halfway through the book, there was still not a clear conflict. At that point, there was nothing beyond a smidge of a buildup with the French Revolution going on in Paris in the background. And lastly, for things that could use improvement, in my opinion, we never got to see Belle spend time with Maurice, her dad. Like, his daughter is this freaking world, and there's no way they wouldn't have visited each other. Um, and like, sure, Maurice could have moved into the castle, but I could also see him not moving into the castle, like wanting to stay at home with his inventions. I mean, he could event in the castle too, but some people just like their smaller homes, and that's okay. But yeah, like he's like in it for just a little bit at the end, but he's not actually like spending time with Belle in the moment. It's just like they're on opposite sides of the room, and it's just like, come on. Where's Maurice? We want Maurice. At least I do. Like, she would totally spend time with her dad. Totally. They are so close. Ah. Okay, and then just a few heads up before I give you my overall rating review of the book. There are a few curse words in this book, some in English, some in French. So, yeah, just a heads up if you don't like curse words, or you are a parent or guardian who wants to approve a book before your child reads it. There's also one gruesome scene with some description. If you have emetophobia, once you get to that scene, it's quite obvious which scene. I would skip to maybe the second page of the next chapter. You'll get caught up on what you skipped over, trust me. Overall, I give this book a 3.25 out of 5. It was pretty mid, but I did enjoy the references to the movie and history, so I gave it a little boost. I'm not hooked enough to continue in this series, but I'd consider it given the future books are by different authors, with each book focusing on a different Disney princess. By the way, the fourth book, A Sword in Slumber by Sarah Rash, Raasch, which focuses on Aurora, is coming out on September 3rd of this year. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on Rebel Rose, the first book in the Queen's Council series, with this book being by Emma Theriault. So, yeah, happy Olympic season, and let me know if you guys pick up this book or have read the other books and think they're better, because the second and third books do have better ratings on Goodreads than this one. Bye. Or if you want me to review the other books. Yeah. Bye, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe, and follow. Also, please chat with me and other members of this club in the comments of the YouTube video. My other social media information and a link to the Long Distance Sisters podcast I am also part of will be below. Back in a whack.